Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first council meeting by conference call. I'm going to call this special meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Kincardine to order. It's 5 p.m. on Monday, March 30th, 2020, and we're here. I am here in the council chambers at the municipal office as mayor, and accompanying me I have Jennifer, Lori, and Jenna. We have another person assisting us if necessary. I just wanted to say to the members of the public who are joining us tonight, I appreciate the positive efforts by individuals, groups, and organizations to keep our positive community spirit alive. And while we are physically apart, it's important that we connect other ways. So thank you from all of us in the municipality of Kincardine. So I'll say more about that later. So for council and the public, for our inaugural meeting by conference call, there are a few procedural changes that have been conveyed to me by our clerk's department. So members of council, when I do the roll call, please respond with present or here. And for a vote, if in favor, just say yes. If not in favor, I will ask both questions, of course, as I always do. Say no, and then I will ask you to say your name. And I will also, I was also supposed to ask for abstainers, which we rarely have in this council, so I don't think that'll be an issue. After a motion or bylaw, I will write down the names of councillors who want to comment or ask a question, and we will go in order as much as possible. And if you have a conflict of interest, just state it, and our deputy clerk will note it, and the form will be sent to you later by email. So now we will begin with the roll call. Deputy Mayor Marie Wilson.
Present.
Councillor Maureen Couture.
Present.
Councillor Dave Kyler.
Present.
Councillor Jerry Glover. Jerry? Okay.
Present.
Councillor Laura Haight.
Present.
Councillor Doug Kennedy.
Present.
Councillor Randy Ropel.
Present.
Councillor Bill Stewart.
Present.
And staff present, Sharon Chambers, CAO.
Present.
Donna McDougall, clerk.
Present.
Roxana Bauman, treasurer.
Present.
Michelle Barr, director.
Present.
Director of Building and Planning. Karen Kiefer, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Present.
Kevin McNeely, Acting Fire Chief.
Present.
Adam Weiser, Director of Public Works.
Present.
And Jennifer Laurie, I've mentioned before, our Deputy Clerk, is present. Okay. Now just a sec here.
Mayor Edie, it's Bill Stewart here. Did you hear Jerry? Jerry's having problems with his phone.
Yes. Jen heard him.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Great. Thank you.
So, does anybody have a disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? State your name and the general nature. Seeing none, we'll go to the business for which the special meeting is called. It's 3.1 on this special meeting agenda. The Municipal Emergency Act 2020 and amendments to the Municipality of Kincardine Procedure Bylaw, number 2013-161 and clerks 2020-05. So Donna is going to do it. Okay, Donna?
Donna?
Is Donna still there? She was on the roll call.
Donna?
She might be on mute. Tell her to take her phone off mute.
Yep. Okay,
Donna's just indicated that she's lost connection, so she may be dialing back in here in a moment.
Okay. Did you want to do it, Jen?
okay, I'll read the report summary. On March 19, 2020, the province introduced the Municipal Emergencies Act 2020 to assist municipal governments and local boards during the COVID-19 emergency. The legislation amended the Municipal Act to provide that during municipal or provincial emergencies, members of council, local boards, and committees who participate electronically in open and closed meetings may be counted for the purposes of quorum. The Municipal Emergencies Act 2020 also provided an amendment to the Lieutenant Governor in Council to make regulations imposing limits and conditions on the powers of a municipality with respect to Section 129 of the Municipal Act. This effectively allows the province to make regulation overriding noise bylaws, enabling 24-hour delivery of critical goods throughout the municipality. I think for tonight's purposes,
We'll have to wait. I don't know what the interference is.
To the dog?
yep.
Not my dog. It's not the dog I have.
Is everybody on mute?
Yes, I'm going back on mute.
So I think for tonight's
Has left.
I think for tonight's purposes, the biggest thing is that in the Municipal Act prior to last week, the people who participated electronically were not counted as quorum. So now anybody who's participating electronically can count as quorum. So every single council member can be elsewhere, home safe and sound, and be counted as quorum. So basically, we're looking to do an amendment to our procedure bylaw to add a definition of emergency, to say that in an emergency, we would allow electronic participation, and then just some very simple procedures about electronic participation.
Does anybody have any comments or questions for Jen? So, for the recommendation, I'm to follow the this guideline here, as far as I know. So, just to speed things up, so I'm going to say moved by Maureen Couture
Donna?
and second by Dave Kyler. The council approve the recommended revisions to the procedure bylaw to provide for members to participate electronically in meetings during an emergency per report of the clerk.
Sorry, Anne.
Yeah?
The motion actually will be that the Municipality of Kincardine 2013 Procedure Bylaw Amendment 11 be deemed to be read a first, second, and third time and passed as bylaw number 2020-044.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was just reading the, what it says on the recommendation. Okay? Okay, so you've got that. Any further discussion? If you want to comment, just say your name. Any further discussion? Hearing none. So all in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Any?
Yes.
Okay. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passed. Oh, so like I was just going down here? Or this is just for me to, for discussion? Okay. Did I do it in your order? Okay. All right. So the next one is the confirmatory bylaw.
Okay, that's moved by Maureen Couture, seconded by Jerry Glover, and that's the confirmatory bylaw 2020-045 for March 30th, 2020 special meeting.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passed. And the motion to adjourn?
So that the special meeting adjourn at 5:10, moved by Bill Stewart, seconded by Randy Ropel.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? That carried. Okay, so it'll just take me a minute here to switch over to the other regular council meeting, which we will have. Sorry, this, trying my other computer here. It's just acting up a bit. Okay. There we are. So now we're moving to the next meeting, more of a regular meeting for the council. So I'm going to call this to order. Calling this, sorry. Back to the wrong one. Okay. I'm going to call, I thought I was calling the, sorry. They all look the same here. Got the committee of the whole. Yes. I think this is it.
Amy and I are really spread out here.
No, that's not it either. Okay. Takes too long to go back because this calls it a special meeting. Is this called a special?
No,
It is
council meeting.
It is,
Yeah.
it is a special council meeting because it's not on the regular day.
Okay, so I've got the right one then, maybe? Just a sec. Yeah, this one calls it a special meeting as well. I thought I was in the wrong spot. No, I'm not. Sorry, Jan.
It is a special meeting.
Yeah, okay. I was looking at this as a regular meeting, and when I saw special meeting. So, I'm going to call this special meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Kincardine to order at 5:13 on Monday, March 30th, 2020, and I am here anyway in the council chambers at the Municipal Administration Center, and again, it is a conference council meeting. Are there any amendments, additions, or deletions to or from this agenda? Hearing none, does anybody have a disclosure of pecuniary interest?
Yes, it's Laura Haight, and actually I'm declaring my conflict on the two sets of minutes. Back on March 9th, you discussed insurance coverage for the Walker House, and I sit on the Walker House Board of Directors. I've made that known to the clerk by an email, and will file the form in due course.
All right, thank you. So we'll go to the adoption of the minutes from the regular and special meetings of council.
So that was moved by Marie Wilson, seconded by Doug Kennedy, that the minutes of the council meetings held on March 2nd, 2020, council and public meeting on March 9th be adopted as printed.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Anybody opposed? They carried. Next we go to motions and notice of motion. Does anybody have a notice of motion tonight? That's 5.1.
Bill, yes.
Okay, Bill? Have you got?
I like, in lieu of the crisis that we're facing right now, I think it's prudent that I'd like to make a motion that we ask the staff to complete a financial impact study of a 5% reduction of revenues or maybe deferred taxes, and maybe look at the necessary offsets in capital or expenses. I think it's prudent that we start to at least take a look at our financial books to make sure that we're not going to get ourselves in difficulty. So I'd like the staff to proceed with that if the council agrees with it, and maybe have something prepared for the next meeting.
Yes. So that's for the next meeting then? And so
Correct.
that's different than the tracking that now that we have declared a state of emergency, where staff are tracking the expenses.
Correct. I'd like to be a little more proactive, and I'd like to hear from the council. Maybe we'll take a look at a 5% reduction and how would it impact us if, because we're going to lose some fees. We know that. We don't know about taxes yet. They might be deferred. I'm not saying we're going to implement it, but it would be a good idea to start to at least look at some forecasting just in case this stuff actually comes true.
Okay. So that will come back to the next meeting then.
Correct.
So we'll go to the motions. Sorry, did anybody else have a notice of motion? Okay, so we'll go to the motions. The first one, 5.2, is the 2020 crosswalk art pilot.
So that was moved by Dave Kyler, seconded by Maureen Couture.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? That carried. Next, we have consideration of bylaws, and 6.1 is the Kincardine Yacht Club Agreement Amendment Bylaw.
That was moved by Jerry Glover, seconded by Bill Stewart.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? That carried. 6.2 is the Kincardine Yacht Club Lighthouse Agreement 2020 Bylaw.
So that's moved by Randy Ropel, seconded by Laura Haight.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? And that carried. Next, we have 6.3, the Municipality of Kincardine Area Specific Development Charge Bylaw 2020.
And that one's moved by Doug Kennedy, seconded by Marie Wilson.
Is there any further discussion on this one?
Yes, Bill here. I'm a little worried about this one with the crisis that we might not get the commitments from the private enterprise to move this development as quick as possible. So that'll be part of our impact study to take a look at that. But other than that, I guess we have to go ahead and approve it.
Well, we'll have the development charges there for when it does happen anyway. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed?
Yes, Bill.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else opposed? Good. Okay, that carried. So 6.4 is the 2701814 Ontario Inc., otherwise known as 755 Campbell Avenue, Site Plan Agreement Bylaw.
So that one's moved by Maureen Couture, seconded by Jerry Glover.
Any further discussion on this one? Hearing none, all in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? That carried. 6.5. Oh, sorry. Okay. I've got to remember to ask for abstainers. But anyway, I don't think anybody had abstained so far. Just a minute. the comprehensive zoning bylaw for Campbell.
So this is for 755 Campbell Ave. Moved by Bill Stewart, seconded by Randy Ropel.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Any opposed? Any abstainers? Okay, that carried. 6.6 is the 2020 taxation bylaw.
This is moved by Laura Haight, seconded by Doug Kennedy.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Opposed? Any abstainers? You don't know how strange this is, passing all these things and looking around the room here. Okay, so number 7, we move into committee of the whole.
So that's moved by Marie Wilson, seconded by Dave Kyler.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? Any abstainers? That carried. So, we'll get to the next agenda here. So I'm going to call this Committee of the Whole meeting of the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Kincardine to order at 5:21 p.m. on Monday, March 30th, 2020. And I am here in the council chambers, and the rest of us are on a conference call, and the staff person here is Jen Laurie. Are there any amendments, additions, or deletions to or from this agenda? Does anybody have a disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature?
Laura again, and I think I'm going to declare on the minutes on this one as well, Jen, for the same reasons, the insurance discussion with the Walker House, as I'm on the board of directors.
Does anyone else have a declaration of pecuniary interest or disclosure? Okay, so next we move to the adoption of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meetings.
That's moved by Randy Ropel, seconded by Doug Kennedy, and that's for the March 9th Committee of the Whole meeting.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? Any abstainers? And number 5 we'll skip over. We don't have anything. So we move to reports in Committee of the Whole. And 6.1 is other areas of responsibility. So A is the municipal response to COVID-19 pandemic and delegation of authority. So Sharon, are you still with us on the line?
Yes, I am here.
All right, so if you want to speak to this report, that would be great.
Okay. So this report provides a general summary of our municipal response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And it was a very difficult report to write because this is a very rapidly evolving situation. And staff helped me put together our response into this report, but it kept changing before we could even get the ink to dry. So I will provide an overview of our activities just for the public that's listening. The second part of my report requests Council to delegate authority to the CAO in event that decisions must be made between Council meetings or if we're not able to hold meetings for some reason. So we started coordinating our response to the COVID-19 pandemic by developing an internal working group consisting of the senior management team, which is Roxana Bauman, Donna McDougall, Adam Weiser, Michelle Barr, Karen Kiefer, and Kevin McNeely, and myself, as well as the HR manager, Leanne Gowing, our CEMC, Frank Merck, and our alternate, Shane Watson, our emergency information officer and deputy clerk, Jen Laurie, our community development officer, Jenna Uji, our IT specialist, Paul Karen, and our Karen's and our CAO executive assistant, Jillian Andrews. And I really wanted to name these people because they have just done a tremendous job over the past couple of weeks developing this response. We've worked some really long hours, 7 days a week at times, to respond to this crisis, and I can't thank them enough. We've gotten a lot done in 2 weeks' time. So the working group has met daily to receive updates from federal and provincial government and agencies, from the county, and to coordinate our response. Our primary focus has been continuity of operations planning to identify essential services, because we're going to have to sustain those services to our community over the course of this pandemic. And in order to do that, we've identified the staff who will support these services and who their alternates are. Many non-essential services and programs had been canceled, and recreation buildings were initially closed to the public. On March 17th, when the province declared a state of emergency, the working group decided to close all remaining municipal facilities to the public, and anybody who wants a list of facilities that have been closed and programs that are suspended, you can check our municipal website. At that time, we implemented a work from home program for all staff who could work from home, and essential services where staff were required to be physically present, we implemented protocols to distance staff from their alternates to make sure that we could continue those services into the future. This includes water and wastewater, where they are on shift, reporting to work on a week-on, week-off basis, and doing things like policy review on their weeks when they're working from home. And we're segregating roads crews by shops. The fire department crews have also been segregated as an example, and we've suspended training and other non-essential activities and services because we know these are very vital services that we need to sustain and that are very important to the community. In addition to that, we've developed a communication team, and we've got Jen Laurie, Jenna Uji, Kelly McDonald, Paul Cairns, and Jillian Andrews, and they've been developing our internal and external communications and developed a communications plan. They've done a fantastic job of keeping the community informed with what's going on. Also, Shizra Saqib is part of that group. And we're updating daily on website and social media. I'm doing daily e-blasts to staff and council to keep everyone up to date. We've developed an intranet to share information and documents among our staff and council. The mayor's done a video, and we've implemented some internal or online meeting platforms. So Microsoft Teams is being used for staff meetings and communication. And we're planning a Teams live event tomorrow for the CAO to update staff on what happened at council this evening. Our community development officer is working on business support. So she's compiled a list of programs and resources for businesses and is communicating with the BIA, the Chamber of Commerce, and the business community, and has just launched a survey on www.investkincardine.ca to determine the effect on our local businesses and to get a sense of what their needs are going forward. And we're also compiling a list of businesses that are providing delivery and online services during this period so we can promote those businesses within the community. Our clerk's department has been working on the electronic meeting format and working with Recreation to identify upcoming special events. Now with the provincial announcement of having gatherings of no more than 5, we don't know how long that's going to be in place. We are engaging with our organizers of special events to make them aware of these regulations and to continue conversations with them so they know whether or not they will be able to hold their events into the future. The Finance Department is working on financial policies around cancellation of programs and really working to move to more digital processes. And IT has been working very hard and very long hours to facilitate our work from home and connectivity of our team. Public Works is continuing to provide essential services, planning for 2020 projects. And just as a note from Public Works staff, we have redeployed the crossing guards to assist with traffic control at the assessment center for COVID at the Kincardine Hospital. The building and planning are still providing building inspection services for uninhabited buildings, and they also take care of the facilities, so they've ramped up sanitation in facilities such as the Municipal Administration Center, medical clinic, and locum houses. And recreation staff have also done a lot of work sanitizing in facilities and have been redeployed to other municipal buildings to increase those sanitization efforts. HR has developed many pandemic-related policies, self-assessment tools, and self-isolation protocols. They've developed frequently asked questions for supervisors because, as I say, this is evolving very quickly and we need to understand how we're managing in this environment. We've developed lots of health and safety protocols related to the pandemic, and I do have a staff report on other staff matters for the closed meeting tonight. So just some other updates. On March 17th, we had the provincial declaration and the shutdown of non-essential businesses. On March 23rd, the county declared an emergency, and several lower tiers followed suit. Actually, all lower tiers in Bruce County have now declared. March 24th, Mayor Edie declared an emergency for Kincardine on the advice of the Emergency Control Group and also by consulting the checklist in the Kincardine Emergency Plan, which is Appendix K, if anybody wants to have a look at it. And the rationale behind the county and the lower tier municipalities and many municipalities declaring the emergency is that right now we know it's an information emergency. There is a need to heighten public awareness of this crisis. We need people to comply with self-isolation protocols and social distancing. And also it does allow us to begin tracking expenses in case there are any provincial programs or federal programs that will assist us in covering some of our costs associated with our pandemic response. The mayor and myself are having weekly calls with county officials and the medical officer of health. We're also receiving regular updates from the South Bruce Grey Health Centre. And the medical officer of health has issued an order regarding mandatory self-isolation for travelers. And both the medical officer of health and premier are encouraging cottagers not to go to cottage country due to the lack of capacity in local healthcare systems. So that summarizes our pandemic response. I'm sure there is a lot more. It's been really a flurry of activity over the last couple of weeks, and we'll continue to communicate with council, staff, and the public as things evolve. The second part of my report relates to the Delegation of Authority bylaw, which the Clerk's Department has prepared for your consideration tonight. And this does provide me with broad authority to make decisions. In the absence of the legislation allowing us to meet electronically, we have had to make decisions on the fly. And I have been trying to keep council up to date as much as possible so you're aware of what's going on. Now that we are able to meet, it's hoped that we would not need to exercise this delegation of authority, that we would be able to have council meetings and have council making decisions in a routine manner. But as you know, this is evolving very quickly, and sometimes we need to make decisions on the fly in between council meetings. And in the event that we were ever not able to produce a quorum and have a meeting, we still need to be able to make decisions and respond to this situation. So that summarizes my report, and I'd be happy to take any questions from council at this time.
Mary Edie, it's Laura. I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, Laura.
Sharon, there's been some discussion. I think we've all noticed that the county has shut down their trail system. Certainly the trail system in Kincardine is serving a huge purpose with respect to keeping everybody's spirits up and getting some exercise. I have two thoughts. One, are we considering shutting down that trail system? And I hope not. And two, if we don't shut it down, I'm wondering whether it's prudent to actually install the temporary bridges so that more of the trail is accessible, so that the chance of congregating in groups is minimized because we're opening up more of the trails, if that makes sense.
Okay, I will take the first part of that, and then I will refer the other part regarding the bridges to Adam.
Okay.
But we have had discussion about this at our working group meetings, and we have decided not to close them at this time. We do feel that as this situation continues for a longer period of time, and we do not feel this is going to be a situation that resolves itself in 2 weeks. We're looking at longer than that. That it is important for us to continue to provide opportunities for people to get outside and exercise. There is a real mental health aspect to this crisis and self-isolation. That being said, we do have to trust people to physical distance on the trails, and we're hoping that that is occurring. So we have not taken the step to close at this time, and that includes other public spaces like the track at the Davidson Center, and we were posting some signage there just to remind people to do physical distancing and respect other people's space. But that's our stance at this time, and who knows where this is going to evolve to. We may get to a point, as other countries have done, where we're in total lockdown, and we'll reassess the situation at that time. But that's our stance at this point in time. So I think I will refer the bridge question to Adam if he can answer that.
And Adam, I don't need the answer now. I mean, normally they don't put those bridges in until the end of April. I just want you to think about it and maybe come back with whether or not you think it's prudent to install the temporary bridges or leave them out.
That's fair, Councillor Haight. We'll take a look at it with the Trails Association and with staff and figure out what's feasible, okay?
Perfect. Thank you, Adam.
So, Adam, if anybody, I just had a specific question on the trail system. So did you say that you have signs up already reminding people not to congregate on the trails and to observe the physical distancing?
Mayor Edie, so we did discuss placement of those signs. I can't confirm without checking with staff, though, if they are up at this point.
Okay, so you are going to put them up. I'm just thinking it's a good idea to put them up. Having the trails, people can still walk their dog, gives, maybe if we can keep our trails open, it's easier to observe physical distancing right through the center of town if our trails are open. So does anybody else have any comments?
About the trails or about this
Just about
bylaw?
About the trails, first of all.
No.
Okay. Somebody else have a question or a comment?
Yes,
Marie Wilson here.
Yes, Marie?
I just wanted to say I have absolutely no problem delegating authority for the administration powers to the Chief Administration Officer. I think we should be doing everything we can to facilitate this, and the leadership shown has just been exemplary by everybody. I just want a big shout out to everybody involved. Never been prouder of this municipality, so I'm definitely in favor of this.
Thank you, Marie. Somebody else?
Okay. Mayor Edie, it's Dave Kyler here.
Yes, Dave?
I'd like to speak about the recycling of that, if I could.
Oh, as far as operations, okay. Then we can go back to the bylaw and everything. So I'll take questions first regarding the update and how staff's been handling different operations.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got Adam on the line. So what's your comment on it, Dave?
No, I was just wondering, I've been talking with Vince. He's doing the best that he can, trying to find a place to dump the recycling other than dump it in the landfill. And I just wondered how empty the sand sheds are, or is there an area where we could dump the recycling out rather than put it in the landfill and then reload it and get it to where it's supposed to go when Vince has a plan in place to do that. If we could dump it inside the empty sand sheds, it'd be easier to pick up.
Okay, it's Adam here again. So we have been looking into that as an alternative. I've had staff take a look at the 3 locations to figure out what material we have in them and how much capacity we would have to stockpile the recycling. In addition to that, we have been consulting throughout the county, so the other managers and directors within all the lower tiers have been discussing options, and we've also reached out to other parties such as Waste Management to find out if there's any capacity for them to help us out and help Bazar out through this process. So we have talked to Vince as well, and I know he's eagerly working towards a resolution, and I think he may even be reaching out to that vendor to see if there's an opportunity to come to an agreement to get us through this period.
Yeah, he was hoping that we would have something in place within a week or two, so there wouldn't really be that much that we would have to, say, store until he has a plan in place. I just wondered if anybody had been talking or not, other than me to Vince. So.
Yeah, no, I spoke to him on Friday, and conversations are quite fluid with him and the group across the county. We're all trying to figure out a resolution for everyone. So my conversation with him Friday is that he is hoping, as you mentioned, a resolution in the next week or so. And if that is the case, based on collection schedules, he didn't think it would necessarily impact us, but if it's going to, then we would work on a stockpile location just in the short term.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Adam.
So,
Maureen?
Adam, I'll get to you, Maureen, in a sec. I think it's good for people to know how, especially members of the general public, how quickly it happened that Vince realized they couldn't do the recycling and had to. So could you just describe what the essential problem was that this happened?
So I think from a staffing level, he was I guess, experiencing a situation where, due to the COVID-19 situation, he didn't have enough staff that were willing to either source the material or even possibly pick the product up. I think it was more on the sorting and management end. And so therefore, the collection could still happen, but the processing aspect in Southampton was at a standstill.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Maureen?
Yes, I would like to encourage the public to store it until a solution is reached if they feel they can. I know there are buildings and so on that are not suitable. I purchased some clear bags myself to stockpile it in until this is resolved. But if people feel they can, I would encourage them to do so.
Thank you.
Mary, if I can just add one further comment.
Yes, sure.
So I think it's important, that the public knows that we weren't satisfied with the status quo. We are looking to find a resolution. Beyond just that, it is important that people are aware not throwing recyclable products in the waste stream at this time. In discussions with some of the vendors in the market over the last week, they're strongly advising that things such as fiber products are at high demand right now. They're being repurposed into N95 masks, as an example. So we really want to encourage people, if they have fiber products and other considerations out there to recycle, that we want to take that green Avenue, and we'll try and find a resolution for the collection and disposal aspect.
Okay, thank you. So as far as the report on the the update by Sharon on that first part, is there anything with what's been done? Yes, Councillor
Randy Ripple here. Question with respect to the final part of the proposal, which is the delegation of authority. I have had a few phone calls from people who are concerned about this, and their concern is that they have felt, and they still feel, that the authority is being taken away from council and put on to the administrative, the chief administrative officer. But I have assured them, and I will stand again, or sit here again and say that it does not take any of the onus off me as an elected official. Regardless of what happens here, I can and I will be held accountable as other councillors if this thing it says here, for the corporation can function efficiently during the current administration or emergency situation. And I think it's prudent that we let the public know that if we agree to this tonight, that the onus, regardless, is still on us, the elected officials. And that's what I would just like to make that statement.
Okay, and so looking at the bylaw itself, does anybody else have any other comments on the bylaw?
Yes, I do. It's Bill here.
Yes, Bill?
Yeah, I disagree, unfortunately, with Randy. I think that the responsibility still falls with the council. I don't think the council's incapacitated. We're all healthy. We're all available. We also can have a monthly or weekly meetings if we need to electronically. I don't think we should hand over the authority all to the CAO. Now, if you want to make a little bit quicker decisions, I'd be more than willing to support having a smaller executive council working with CAO to make these quick decisions, but I'd recommend that we should have a mayor, the deputy mayor, and at least one member of council, and the four of them could make these decisions in between our council meetings. I just don't think it's right for the taxpayers to depend on the CAO to make all these decisions, and if it's a timely thing, we can have the executive council if we need to.
So I just want to read from the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act for Ontario, and maybe we need to differentiate a few things. The head of council of a municipality may declare that an emergency exists in the municipality or any part thereof, and may take such action and make such orders as he or she considers necessary and are not contrary to law to implement the emergency plan of the municipality and to protect property and the health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the emergency area. So there is a provision there for the head of council to take such action as necessary. As you know, of course, I consult whoever is available, and our CAO has done a great job through this. But Bill has raised an important part, whereas the county is continuing to have, like we're booked the next three Thursdays for meetings, and we discuss this later in the agenda. So what has changed that we need delegation of authority, or is this just in a special circumstance? Because that was my question too. If we have regular meetings and there is a provision under a state of emergency for the head of council, but if we can continue to have regular meetings, our business should pretty well be able to continue. So I'd like our CAO and maybe our clerk or our staff just to explain that part.
Well, I can start, and then if Donna wants to chime in on this as well, I know she was researching with many other municipalities who are doing the same thing right now. So by all means, this would not be exercised unless absolutely necessary. So we're set up now to be able to continue meetings, and we would continue making decisions as we always have. Even though we're on the phone, we're still meeting, and council is making decisions. So I wouldn't anticipate that we would need to use this bylaw. But if there were a situation where we could not meet and we are in a declared emergency state, many municipalities are passing these bylaws to allow quick decisions to be made in the absence of being able to have a meeting. So, being in my position, I would not want to exercise this. I would not want to have all of the decision-making responsibility on myself unless it was absolutely necessary. Allowing council to continue making decisions as they always do, as Randy says, allows council to take the responsibility for those decisions. This is only to be utilized in an extreme emergency situation. And I don't know if, Donna, you have any comments on that.
I will just add that at present, all of our council members are able to attend electronically, but again, we're not sure what the future holds, and so you might not be able to pull the quorum together. And I know that creates a whole another stream of issues, but it was really just to make sure that we could quickly move ahead in the event the council couldn't meet or there wasn't sufficient council members to hold a quorum.
So,
Maureen?
Oh, sorry, did somebody else? I just wanted to say, just so you know, Sharon and other staff and I have been, going back and forth, etc. And if I understand this right, it's just extreme. We don't know what's happening, but for now, I have the necessary authority under the head of council and the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act for Ontario. And as I understand it, Sharon, this is more for administrative in extreme cases where decisions have to be made. So if I'm available as mayor too, if Sharon and I are able to confer, I have a certain amount of authority as well. So what you're saying then, Sharon, I want to make sure I have it right. This is just a preparation document if it's needed in an extreme situation, because right now we can have all council members meet electronically, and quorum is available. That's. I just want to make sure. I think that was in some of our questions.
Yes, I don't anticipate at this point in time that we would need to use this delegation of authority. It is something that municipalities are doing to ensure that decisions can still be made in those extreme circumstances when council is not able to convene and make them.
Okay, thanks, Sharon. And one more question.
Can I comment?
Yes.
Well, I thought Maureen was on list 2 for like first. The longest time.
So no, I've got Maureen down, and who else hasn't had a chance to ask a question on that?
I haven't. It's Dave.
Dave? Okay, so Maureen and Dave, and
then I'd like to make additional comment.
And Bill. Then Bill? Nobody else? For now, unless
well, it depends on what everybody says.
Yeah, I know, but I just want to give everybody a chance. Okay, so first with Maureen.
Yes, I'm quite confident that the explanation that's been given satisfies me that these decisions will only be made in an extreme emergency and if we can't meet. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself on the agenda, but that's our next item is meeting schedule, and I believe we should just continue our regular schedule so we don't run into any issues whatsoever.
Okay, thanks, Maureen. Dave.
Yes, I think what Bill would like to hear, Sharon, is that you would try and get a hold of everyone in council before you go ahead and use this delegation of authority. And I would be quite happy with that myself.
I would like Donna's comment on that. I think, wherever possible, we can consult. We've been told in the past, calling every individual member of council separately still constitutes an illegal meeting.
No, I didn't mean that.
No, I would like Donna's comment on that. Would that be an illegal meeting, having an individual phone call with each member of council? I know it's been ruled in the past by integrity commissioners that is illegal.
I believe a polling, a meeting cannot be achieved through a polling. But I wasn't sure if Dave was talking about you would phone us or whether it would be you would phone and try to arrange a special meeting.
Yeah. To set up a teleconference.
Yeah, we could do if we followed all of the provisions of the Municipal Act. We could do a teleconference impromptu and provide whatever notice is required. But just informally, me calling up members of council and saying, "Hey, what do you think?" That is not permitted.
No, I understand that. I'm quite happy giving you the authority to do so. I'm just trying to put Bill at ease a little there because, if you can get a hold of everybody and set up a meeting, that's fine. If you can't, then you have to go ahead and use your authority.
As I said,
who's
only
next?
in extreme circumstances.
That's right, yes.
Okay, so Bill's next. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave, for your comments. Mary Edie, I believe your state of emergency is only good for 14 days without the minister extending that. Is that correct?
I'll defer to Sharon and Donna. I read that somewhere too, Dave. But I think extensions will depend on the circumstances at the time.
Okay, and then I'll have a comment after.
I may defer to Kevin McNeely on this.
I believe they are correct. It's 14 days, and then you have to revisit it and resubmit.
Okay, thank you.
My other comment would be, I would consider supporting this. When I start looking at the delegation of authority draft, we're starting to get into it's okay to take the tender that's 20% over budget and everything else. I think it's just too much. I have no problems giving Sharon, CAO, and the mayor authority, even up to $1 million if it's a health and safety thing for the community. I have no problems with that. But when I start looking at the draft and all these other things, I just can't support this whole thing. But I have no problem supporting giving immediate responsibility or authority for something that's a health and safety issue that's going to affect the whole community.
Okay.
And it's Laura.
Yes, Laura.
Okay, so in years gone by, 20, 30 years ago, councils used to approve lottery licenses and taxi licenses, and each and every account was approved. And as municipalities grew and got a little bit more savvy on these are routine things, we delegated authorities. Other than a lot of statutory authorities, virtually everything that this municipality does is controlled by council. Through Karen Kiefer, we would set the pool hours because she establishes the pool hours and she reports to the CAO and the CAO reports to us. I'm just, even if a tender were accepted for 20% over, and we would still act as the oversight for that, Sharon would, Ms. Chambers, you'd be liable to lose your job if you're willy-nilly going out and exercising that authority not within the parameters established by council. I don't see the issue with it during this period of emergency. I don't think it's going to be used. I think it's there for the what if. What if two of our water operators get sick on a Friday evening and are hospitalized because the onset of COVID-19 is so sudden that we have to contract with Veolia or some other water operator to ensure that we have safe potable water. I do not want those phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning for something that's going to be so responsive to the emergency. And Bill, if you can suggest a tweak that makes it just health and safety, sure, I'm all for it, but I can't imagine it's ever going to be used for anything other than the health and safety issues during the emergency.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
I would agree.
Somebody else? So I just had a question in an extreme emergency, but for now, as far as my role in checking the accounts payable, etc. So the accommodation that was made on Friday was I did not come in, but they were mailed to me, and then I looked them over as usual, and I gave written approval by email, and I'm just going to read it so that you're getting an idea of our accommodations. And I'm assuming to observe physical distancing. I try not to come into the municipal office any more often than I have to. And so this is just what I wrote, just so you know. I have examined the municipality of Kincardine accounts payable for 26/03/2020 and for 27/03/2020. I give my approval by this email for these accounts to be paid due to these unusual circumstances caused by the COVID-19 crisis and our declaration of emergency now in effect in the municipality of Kincardine. So I can continue I'm just thinking of some of you that have questions about it. So if for some reason there's nobody in at the office on a Friday because everybody's working from home, I can continue approving accounts payable by email as on Friday, and I think it's a good practice that as mayor I see the accounts on a weekly or bi-weekly basis whenever they're issued. So then the exception would be under the designation of authority in extreme circumstances where I wouldn't be available, and that's the type of thing I'm envisioning. I'm not envisioning that, yes, we're making some accommodations. The work of the municipality is ongoing. We're just doing it in a different way. Yeah, that's what I envision, and it's just like you're not here tonight, but we're still having a very good discussion and a regular council meeting. Okay? Anybody, any comments on that? Okay.
It's Jerry here. I align with some comments with Bill, and I just, for whatever reason, am not comfortable with some of the language. I'll be voting no against this.
Okay, so Jerry, can you just tell us briefly what language is you're not comfortable with, or what? I
think, and certainly this is with no disrespect or malice. So, but when I read some of the comments Bill made, again, the current form we're still able to meet, and anything under occupational health and safety, as I understand it by legislation, would have to by default go to the CAO, and we'd have to act on it, whether it's $1 or $1 million. There's negotiable. But when we're looking at potentially hiring, firing, and negotiating up to $100,000, I feel that from a risk management perspective, if there was a smaller subset of council that was more responsive, to an earlier comment of maybe an executive council, maybe the mayor, the deputy mayor, one councillor, and that is empowered with the CAO to make these decisions. Because at the end of the day, to Randy's point, we are still ultimately accountable, and I have no problem going along with consensus. At the end of the day, we don't know where this is going. We know that it's certainly going to be longer than weeks. And depending on turns of the capacity state that we're imagining ourselves to be, whereby we cannot participate in this forum, I do not see that as being a constable instance at this point in time and space. So for those reasons, I just can't support it.
So even though this is just for extreme circumstances, as our CAO said, you think it's too detailed? You think some should be removed?
Well, I just feel like it's a bit broad, a bit too broad in terms of scope, and so it's really by no fault. And I appreciate sort of the dialogue, and that you're trying to impress upon, maybe in terms of space. But I don't understand where we would have a circumstance at this point where that would curtail our ability, or anything under Occupational Health and Safety Act would already limit or impede the authority in a competent person, i.e. the CEO, to fulfill her obligations under the legislation. So just in terms of the current wording and where I see us going, I don't feel that we are going to be in a position where we can't make the affairs of the corporation still active part of our weekly or bi-weekly mantra. So I'm just not comfortable with it. So regardless, at the end of the day, I would be supporting I would be voting against this motion, or the bylaw. Sorry.
Maureen?
Jerry Glover
has left.
Okay, Maureen?
Yeah, I think the word should be community health and safety, not workplace or occupational. I think Bill is referring to community health and safety.
Okay, and that's...
That would be correct.
And so that is under... Sorry. What section is that? Or
no, he's saying he would like that added or specified somehow.
Okay.
I'm wondering if we could ask the staff to look at this and bring it back next week.
I'm comfortable with that. Just some of the wording. I would like as many people as possible to be comfortable with some of the wording. I think generally everybody...
Jerry Glover
has joined.
Okay. So, Jerry, you're back again. Councillor Couture has suggested that we ask staff to look at some of the wording and bring it back next week. I think we generally agree that this is a bylaw authorizing this delegation of authority in an extreme circumstance. For now, we can carry on, but it is, you never know when the extreme circumstance might happen. Who would dream that 3 weeks ago we'd be having this type of meeting? So I'm going to ask for council, can you just, I think we'll ask for council's concurrence on this matter, that staff just look at it. Did you want to put that motion forth, Maureen? And if there was a...
Yes, and I would also ask if Sharon has enough information from us, or if she'd like us to email her with suggestions we might have.
Okay.
I think it would be helpful to understand the areas of concern. As I said, we sort of modeled this on other samples that we've seen from other places, and if there are specific concerns, we'd be more than happy to address them.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's Bill here. I just wanted to say, currently we do have under a declaration of emergency, the state of emergency, I believe Mayor Eadie's got full authority to do anything in the next 7 days until we have our next meeting to be able to protect our community, correct?
That's right.
Great.
I read it out there before, and it's to protect the property and the health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of the emergency area, which is the emergency area is the municipality of Kincardine.
So we'll send our comments back, and between now and our next meeting, you and Sharon can, you basically have the authority, Mayor Eadie, to do anything we need to do.
That's right. And so
Right.
Are you seconding the motion?
I will second the motion, Bill.
I'm sorry, I'm not clear. Is this motion to defer?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And be brought back next week. So we have a motion on the floor, first and seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
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 Any opposed?
I'm opposed. It's Laura.
I'm opposed as well.
Marie? Okay, so
Yeah.
2 opposed.
I'm fine with it the way it is.
I am too, Marie. Even now, I think we're creating risks with tenders being mailed into the office. And anyway, I don't think it can wait a week.
This is just in the event that we absolutely need it. And I think we are just beating this to death. It's based on other municipalities have passed this, my understanding is. And I think it's just in the event of an emergency, probably will never be used, but I think it would be prudent for us to have it. So I think we're spending too much time on it anyway, but that's just my opinion.
Okay.
I think it's fine the way it is.
All right. I think maybe we should take...
Maureen here, and I'm going to vote against my own motion. I agree.
So...
Sorry.
I
didn't think it through. Yeah.
You've moved it, so do now procedure, Jen.
I can vote against something I've moved.
Okay. So let's have a recorded vote now, please. It's just getting too confusing.
Okay. Maureen Couture?
No.
Dave Kyler?
Yes.
Jerry Glover?
Yes.
Laura Haight?
No.
Doug Kennedy?
No.
Randy Ropel?
Yes.
Bill Stewart?
Yes.
Marie Wilson?
No.
And Ann Eady?
Yes.
So the motion carries.
The motion carries 5-4. So, but the motion is that it will be brought back next week, and just with some tweaks. I think everybody basically agrees with it. It's just some aren't comfortable with some of the sections. So that gives us an opportunity. All right, so we're finished with that. And back to my agenda here, if I can find it. Here we are. So next is 6.1b, the future schedule for council meetings during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, so Mayor Eady, this is Donna. We had put that on the agenda.
Hello?
I lost her.
So Jen, you're a tag team tonight.
So we put it on the agenda just so that people could discuss if we want to have them in the same fashion that we've been having every 3 weeks, and also at the same time. Is 5 o'clock still the time when people want to meet? So those were the 2 items for discussion.
So this is the end of March. So what Jen is saying, we'll just proceed with regular meetings in April as on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, as we usually do, if that's council's wish. And we will be having them by conference call, or if we get our technology up to another level. Conference call is fine. I feel they work fine. I've been on tons of conference calls the last couple of weeks, and they've gone very well. Or if the technology changes, that I don't know what capabilities we have for Skype or the video conferencing. This is fine. I don't think we're going to look any better as we go through the if the crisis lasts for another month or 2. I know I'll be looking a lot worse.
Yeah.
So
nobody wants to look at me right
now. If somebody wants to have a motion, we'll have a motion that we continue with our regular meetings at this point, and they will be scheduled for April and May. And
we really need a motion on that if we're not changing the time. And
we don't need a motion?
Okay.
Just a discussion? Okay. Okay, so if there are no changes, that will go ahead. And next...
Can we add to it just that maybe in a form of motion or just talk about adding an extra Monday meeting in case of things that are happening quickly, say at the end of the next month that we should be talking about, or not taking 2 weeks off at this time? Just a question.
Yeah, so we can always schedule, the mayor can always call a special meeting. So that is already in the procedure bylaw. So we do have the power to do that now. So if they decide you want another one, we can do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I forgot to mention, just because it's our first meeting with conference call, and Doug, you're invisible, and usually it's for you to chair, you're chairing from the other end, and it's obvious who's chairing. If you don't mind, just for tonight on this recreation, I will just remain the chair since I'm visible and here, if that's okay with everybody?
Fine.
Okay, so recreation services, the Davidson Center HVAC tender results from our Parks and Recreation Director. Karen, are you still on the line?
I am here, yes. So included in the 2020 capital budget was $50,000 for a new HVAC unit for the Davidson Center, specifically the hall. We received 3 submissions, and based on the results, staff are recommending that council award the tender for the purchase of a new HVAC unit for the Davidson Center to Ken Robinson Refrigeration, Inc. at a cost of $49,642.60, which is inclusive of the non-refundable HST, which is on budget, and the unit is compatible with natural gas.
Yay.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Does anybody have any questions for Karen?
It's Laura. I'll move the motion.
We'll go ahead. Yeah. Okay. I was just going to comment that Ken Robinson, is our main repair company that we use at the Davidson Center, who we're quite familiar with. So, it was probably fortunate that he came in at a really good cost for us. So, go ahead, Laura. Sorry.
No, I just said, Doug, I'd move the motion.
Okay. Yep,
And
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? And any abstainers? All right, so the motion carried. I don't know what's with... I'm having the worst day with my technology today. Pardon? Yes. So the next is the Lions Club skate park request, and I'll turn it back to Karen.
Okay, thank you. So earlier this year, the Kincardine Lions Club appeared before council asking for council support for continued improvements to Lions Park, specifically for a future youth skate park. So as a result, staff is recommending that council authorize the Kincardine and District Lions Club use of the Davidson Center Lions Park lands for the future development of a youth skate park, and further, that the Lions Club work together with staff and outside agencies during the design and engineering scope of work for the project to secure the best location for our youth skate park.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Karen?
It's Jerry. I don't have any questions, but through you, Mayor, I just want to say this is an amazing, tremendous opportunity, a great partnership. Hopefully we can see more of these going forward, but just kudos to the Lions Club and totally support this.
Yeah, just to add to Jerry, it's Doug here. Just like Jerry said, he did such an amazing job at other projects up there and down by our waterfront. And, the old skate park, Karen and I have had some, different groups talk to us about, the potential of that too. And I think our goal is to make maximum use out of it. And one of the groups who would like to use it in the summertime is outdoor pickleball, which would work well with maybe some other things that could be used later in the day. But, we'll bring recommendations back to council before anything gets decided. So anyways, I just thought I should let people know what people are talking about. Basketball, some ball hockey, and outdoor pickleball have been the 3 things. Karen, is there anything else that people have suggested?
Those are the main ones that I've heard so far.
Yeah. Okay.
It's Bill here. Excellent, excellent thing. I'd like to move this motion.
I'll second it. It's Maureen.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Any
Yes.
opposed? Any abstainers? And the motion carried. I think having plans ready to go is always good. You never know when what's going to happen, especially after this, but there's always good to have a shovel-ready project rather than wish, oh, we could have done this if we'd been ready. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about the plans. So next is the mayor's update. So I'm just going to say, for my mayor's update this evening, I imagine some people have left us from the start of the meeting. They're listening in if they are. I want to first thank everyone in the community who is doing his or her part to help fight this COVID-19 health crisis. You can be big or small, old or young, but we need each person in the municipality of Kincardine to do what he or she can. And the message keeps, we keep hearing it and hearing it, but the main thing from all the conference calls, everything with the Board of Health, etc., over the last couple of months, the main thing we can do is stay home. It will be tough as we get those warmer spring days in April, but we must stay home. This is the number one way to stop the virus from spreading. Of course, you will need to go out for certain essential needs, like the grocery store or the drugstore. But I'm going to suggest, ask yourself, do I really need this item today? Can I be better organized and only shop once a week or less? And last week, I challenged children and teens to learn or create something new during this period at home, because I can imagine it's a pretty long day sometimes at home. So this week, send me an email, mayor@kincardine.ca, to tell me what you've learned or created at home or how you made someone's day better. On the subject line of the email, just put Mayor's Challenge. And the more email, if I get overwhelmed, it would be wonderful to be overwhelmed by people doing positive things. I have a few friends that might help me out. I'll create a special folder. So the Mayor's Challenge for children and teens. Also, we had the directive from Dr. Era, the Grey Bruce Medical Officer of Health, and Sharon mentioned it as well. So if you have relatives or friends returning from holidays outside of Canada, please make them aware of the order to self-isolate. I'm hearing of people that have returned, and I think there's better processes in place, but they really weren't aware on their holidays of what was going on back in Canada as much. So, in addition, as Sharon said, Dr. Era strongly recommends against non-essential travel to and from Grey and Bruce counties. Again, you ask yourself the question, do I really need to travel or make this trip, or can it wait? I do want to thank the businesses and stores that have quickly adjusted to make our community safer by implementing extra sanitation measures, as well as encouraging physical distancing for customers to make shopping safer for everyone and make the community safer. I really encourage people to find out which of our local stores, it might look like they're closed, but they have online shopping, or you can order by phone, and then if you kind of arrange a time, they will just get it out the front door to you with their gloves on and everything. We need to support our local businesses during this difficult time as much as possible. So, as Sharon mentioned, our staff are looking into that and compiling lists. We have initiative going already on that front from some of our staff in conjunction with some other municipalities, especially Saugeen Shores, and just learning from municipalities around what can be done. So that's good. We'll probably hear more about it in the future. And I want to thank the people who are finding ways to entertain us with interesting things in their windows or in their yards. I do go over and visit my mother the odd time, and I was just wondering, did I see a reindeer on Lambton Street? So thanks to those people. And finally, I again want to thank our Municipality of Kincardine staff, led by our senior management team and our CAO, Sharon Chambers, who have been working so hard to keep our core municipal services operating as well as make the necessary changes to keep all our employees healthy and safe during this pandemic. There have been a lot of changes. It just didn't happen without great planning. We don't have this much staff without a lot of planning in a very short time frame. So we also appreciate the daily updates from staff regarding our municipality and other organizations on our website and other places, and through email, e-blasts, etc. So again, to all residents, we can get through this COVID-19 crisis together. For now, we can be both Kincardine strong and Bruce County tough. Thank you. So I told Donna, because we didn't have public forum tonight, I had extra time with Mayor's update. So next, we have the consent agenda. Did anybody have anything from the consent agenda?
It's Dave here.
Yes, Dave.
Did anyone read the letter to the town of Hanover from SMART?
I did, Dave, but I've forgotten the details. Do you want to comment on it?
Well, it's just it's just basically a letter asking for the other municipalities that are involved in it to join forces and write to the government, the county government, the provincial government, to tell them how important we are and support us more if they could. That's the general consensus of it.
So did you want it brought back at another council meeting where we could discuss it more fully?
Well, sure. It's on the agenda there. Like, you can read it, but we can talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay. Sorry, Jen, I didn't hear you. Yeah, at a future meeting. Yes. Okay.
Yes, Hanover passed a resolution, was what it was. And, just asking for support, basically.
Okay, thank you.
We need all the help we can get.
Okay, so Jen's got it down that it'll be brought back at a future meeting when staff has had time just to bring it back for discussion. So in April. In April. I did want to mention that I did read the water reports, and I want to congratulate our staff because we had 100% rating for the 2019 annual water reports. That's just excellent. So congratulations to the staff involved. There's a lot of work involved to get 100% rating. So thank you. So next is our motion to adjourn Committee of the Whole.
That's moved by Laura, seconded by Doug Kennedy, and we'll adjourn at 6:29 p.m.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Opposed? Any bystanders? So we are right on our 6:30 break. Do we have, you want to push through to?
Yeah.
Yeah, then we'd all have to call back in again.
Okay, for closed? Okay.
And then Matt leaves, we'll have
Okay.
about 10 minutes when Matt leaves.
All right. So, sorry. I took the vote, and we have matters arising. Hope I've got the right agenda here. So, matters arising.
So the first matters arising is the consent agenda, and that was Marie Wilson and Dave Kyler.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
None opposed? No abstainers? It carried.
So the second one is the HVAC unit at the Davidson Center for Ken Robinson refrigeration tender. That was Doug Kennedy and Marie Wilson.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed? Any abstainers?
Am I on mute? It's Maureen.
No, you're not.
I heard your voice.
Sorry, I was sneezing. Okay.
The third one is the Kincardine District Lions Club skate park request, and that was Dave and Maureen Couture.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? Abstainers? We're good? All carried. Well, so we have matters arising and then members of council general announcements. So general announcements, and we'll start with my list here. We'll start with Maureen Couture.
I have nothing. Just thank you very much to staff for everything you're doing.
Okay, Dave.
Oh, the very same. Everybody keep up the good work. I think we're going to make it through this.
Thank you. Jerry.
Yes, I just want to say I typically don't add too much to these conversations, but I just want to say that we are an amazing community. To echo what Mayor Ann said, this virus does not discriminate. We can mitigate our risk and exposure by exercising reasonable common sense and judgment with social distancing and self-isolation. We've seen remarkable acts of citizenship throughout Kincardine with the introduction of Crystal Murphy's Sunset Initiative. Amazing. It's important that we stay in connection with each other via phone, online, and from a distance. This is a considerable burden for many people, but it's with optimism that it is not. The short-term pain is long-term gain, and we hope that we really need to check in with each other, not physically, but also to make sure that our mental wellness of our loved ones is intact. Just want to say a big shout out to all the businesses that have been safeguarding our employees, the essential service employees, through plexiglass and other initiatives to keep people safe while at work, while supporting us still in the community. Just want to say that we are Kincardine strong and really proud of what we've been seeing so far.
Okay, thank you, Jerry, with your health expertise in your daily, in your other life. Laura?
Well, I'm on day 12 of my self-isolation after being one of those caught abroad, and I miss people. I'm going to say that out loud, and I'm not doing well with it, but nonetheless, I look forward to being sprung on Wednesday, but it still doesn't mean I get to go out and have that much fun because there's nothing going on. So I want to encourage people. There is, for the youth, the Kids Helpline got a bunch more funding from the federal government. If you're struggling, call them. They're there to help. There's no judgment. It's totally confidential. If you're struggling with finances or the rent or unsure how to apply for POGI, dial 211. They can help you out. Thanks to the people. Jerry had mentioned it, but I've seen people are doing music performances on Facebook. We did our first virtual trivia on Friday night. I couldn't believe the success. So look for opportunities to socialize. I think you can do it through distance socializing, and but it's going to be more important in the weeks to come that our mental health and those social aspects are going to have to rise to the fore, or people are going to go stark raving mad. So take care, everyone. Stay safe and stay home.
Okay, thanks, Laura.
Thanks.
Doug?
Yeah, I just want to really thank staff for the great job they're doing, long hours, 7 days a week, the information that they're getting out to council and the public. And I just think that communication is the most important thing we do as things change daily. I'd like to give a shout out to Laura and my better half Kathy who did that trivia out there last Friday night. They had over 160 people on Facebook Live playing trivia, which was pretty amazing. And it looks like this month they'll be doing it again. And there's lots of really interesting stories out there, like music and different things and helplines that is really helping people get through this stage that we're going through. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Doug. Randy?
Yes, I'd just like to compliment staff for a great job they're doing. And I also would like to compliment the people of the municipality of Kincardine on the way they've reacted with respect to the issue that we're facing, and hope that they stay safe. Thank you.
Next, Bill Stewart.
I'd like to thank Randy for being electronic for a change, so thank you very much, Randy. And I'd just like to say from the Three Musketeers, divided we fall, united we stand. I think we've done an outstanding job. Sharon, you and your staff have done an outstanding job. I'm not quite sure when this is over, so make sure you guys get some rest and maybe stop working 7 days a week, because it might be a longer haul than we anticipate, but I'm really proud to be part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Marie?
Yes, I said it earlier that I've never been so proud of this community, and it has just been heartwarming to see the way everybody has, with a very proactive and positive attitude, embraced something which we could never have anticipated. Right from our staff, who, you know, the exemplary leadership that, you know, you, Mayor Edie and Sharon, with our staff and our emergency control group, all the healthcare workers and the people that are providing the essential services, so many people, and just, you know, just even like with your little challenge with the children, you know, that's just a great idea for something for them to do. And I don't know if I'm sure some of you saw the convoy that some of the downtown merchants put on at Made CTV. I mean, just going out there and getting people to bang pots and pans and just to try to lighten the atmosphere and, you know, really emphasize the fact that we are all in this together and we will all get through this together. And anyway, like I say, I've never been so proud of my municipality and the place I chose to live over 30-some years ago. So I'm dating myself a little bit. Anyway, everybody please stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Marie. And I, too, am extremely proud of everybody's efforts so far. It's been wonderful. And it is, I was talking to my mother again about this, and she said, you know, it reminds her of, you know, kind of the war effort. Everybody came. It's totally different in many respects, but everybody pulled together and, you know, they did their best. And that's what we do here. We just do our best. So, Sharon, you're next for your comments. If you have any.
No, just thank you, Council, for your comments about staff. I am very proud of the team and the work they've done, and I know I did mention individuals tonight that have been pulling together on the control group and other groups that we've created, but it really has been the whole team across the municipality. We've redeployed people, and they've just done everything we've asked of them without complaint or comment, and I'm just very proud to be working with this team that I have.
Thank you, Sharon. So I just wanted to mention, I think we'll evaluate this being our first conference call and council meeting this way. Maybe we can get some comments back from the public, or I'm not so sure the public was as aware, but I'd like to thank Matt Smith for coming in and recording this for us tonight. Right now there's just the three of us here, but we couldn't do it without Matt, so hats off to Matt. And so next is we'll move into closed meeting.
So this is moved by Jerry Glover, seconded by Bill Stewart, that council move into closed meeting for the purpose of considering litigation or potential litigation. That's the Appeal to Local Planning Appeal Tribunal Bylaw number 2019-21, and personal matters about identifiable individuals, and that's a human resources matter.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed? Abstainers? All right, that carried, and we're in closed.
Technically.
We just have
Has left.